string of lethal carjackings terrorize the Washington, D.C. area. Ballistics reveal that it's the work of a serial killer who tries to run over one victim with his own car. The FBI and police set a clever trap, but the killer insists on a violent shootout.
In the early 90s, a serial killer stalked lone victims in the dead of night. His hunting ground, the suburbs of Washington, D.C. His target, anyone who owned a car. I'm Jim Kallstrom, former head of the FBI's New York office. The gunman was as elusive as he was deadly. He struck quickly and without mercy. Now the FBI must follow the twisted path of a killer wherever it leads.
November 13th, 1991. Silver Spring, Maryland, a suburb north of Washington, D.C. Montgomery County Police respond to a report of shots fired at a car dealership. Officers discover the body of a woman shot in the chest and forehead.
Call the medical examiner.
And another gunshot victim nearby.
It's got a pulse.
The man is breathing but unconscious. Paramedics rush him to the hospital. Montgomery County Homicide Detective Ed Day coordinates his department's swift response to the slaying.
You saturate the case as fast as you can, work on it as fast as you can, get as much information as fast as you can, and try to resolve it as fast as you can. Unfortunately, the homicides, time is terrible. The more time goes by, the less your odds are that you're going to have a satisfactory conclusion to the investigation.
Investigators learn the two victims are janitors. They were cleaning the building that night and would have come outside around 10 p.m. to dump the garbage. The detectives work to determine a motive for the attack.
You don't overlook the obvious. You have a shooting like this at a car lot. Is that a possible motive for the killing, the theft of a car? Of course, had representatives from the auto dealer come out, do an inventory. There was no vehicles missing. There was no property missing from the inside of the establishment.
Investigators locate the victim's car keys nearby and determine neither of their personal vehicles are missing. Robbery does not seem to be the motive.
Nothing was taken. They had money on them. There wasn't a single thing missing.
Are you Mr. Escobar's attendant physician?
Yes, I am.
Tell me about him.
With almost no evidence to go on, Detective Day hopes to learn more from the critically wounded man.
As you can see, he's intubated. He's also in a coma, and he's just not responding.
We do that with any kind of a shooting that's potentially fatal. There's a rule in law that a dying declaration does not have to be corroborated. It's not hearsay because if the person knows he's going to die, he's assumed to be able to be telling the truth. So if you can get a statement from somebody in really serious circumstances, then it's always a very, very powerful piece of evidence.
I got to check on him.
But the victim dies 9 days later without ever regaining consciousness. During the autopsy, the medical examiner recovers the only piece of physical evidence, the bullets that killed the victims. At the Maryland State Police Crime Lab, ballistics expert Joe Capera examines the evidence to determine if there was more than one shooter.
There was a microscopic comparison done to determine if these bullets were fired from the same gun. And indeed, as a conclusion to these examinations, I concluded that these bullets were fired from the same gun.
Examining the scratch patterns on the bullets, Capera determines the make and model of the murder weapon.
I was able to ascertain, first of all, the caliber of the gun, which was a .357, and then through the measurements of the unique landing groove areas, I was able to ascertain that it was a Ruger .357.
With no obvious motive for the slayings, detectives explore the victims' personal lives for clues.
You work inside out, you try to find out if these people had any enemies, if there was any triangle, a thwarted lover or something like that. These things take you in 100 different directions, and you just have to take care of one thing at a time. You eliminate something and you move on to the next issue, and you just go from there.
Detectives find nothing in the victims' backgrounds that could have led to their murders. Since investigators found the victims' car keys near the bodies, they decide to re-examine the slayings as a failed car theft. With that possible motive in mind, detectives speculate how the crime might have occurred.
They were cleaning. The business was closed for the night. They were taking the trash out.
Hey! Nice and easy, just throw me your
Detectives suspect the gunman demanded the victim's car keys.
keys.
Here, just do right here. Don't hurt me, okay?
Based on the position of the woman's body relative to her keys, they believe she tried to run.
And you have to make the assumption that he lost control of the situation and decided to kill the two of them before he identified what car belonged to them. He escalated an attempt theft into a murder for no good reason.
With little evidence to go on, the case grows cold. Then, 3 months later, investigators respond to the scene of another homicide. They find the body of psychology professor Dr. Shaheen Hastrudi lying in a parking lot in Bethesda, Maryland. Unable to locate her car, detectives believe she was the victim of a fatal carjacking. Noting the lack of blood spatter evidence near the body, they suspect Hastrudi's assailant shot her while she was still inside her car. Through interviews with her colleagues, authorities determined Dr. Hastrudi left her office around 8 p.m.
She's obviously accosted. At some point gets in her car.
Get in the car! Start it. Just start the car. Start the car. Start the car. Don't touch her.
Once she's already in the car, she's shot. She's taken out of the car, dumped on the lot, and the suspect steals her car. Gunshot wound to the head, large caliber, no witnesses.
The only solid evidence is a pair of bullets recovered from the victim's body. Investigators send the bullets to the Maryland State Police Crime Lab to compare them with the bullets from the double homicide. It is a match. The two crimes are connected.
We got a couple of crimes here.
Homicide detectives begin examining unsolved cases involving similar circumstances. One detective recalls a recent homicide, which occurred a month before Hastruti was killed.
Very similar to these crimes. It's very similar.
That victim was also shot in the head with a large caliber gun. As in the Silver Spring double homicide, responding officers found the victim's keys near his body.
Large caliber weapon. Very similar.
But this victim didn't own a car, which leads investigators to question whether car theft was the motive, or if the case is even connected to the other shootings.
But we said, you know, this is looking like they're definitely linked for some reason.
Let's see if we can get some ballistics on it. Let's get some ballistics on it.
So authorities locate the bullet from that case and send it to be tested. Ballistics expert Joe Capera compares the bullets from the 4 homicides.
I did a cross-comparison examination to the previous bullets. And as a result of that examination, I found out that all the bullets were fired from the same weapon.
So we're starting to see a pattern here, guys. We got
Investigators have connected the 4 homicides through the ballistic evidence and an apparent car theft motive, but they cannot understand why the killer chose to murder his victims.
None of these people were armed. Stature-wise, none of these people I thought were particularly a threat to the suspect. 2 possibilities: that he had lost control of them and felt the best way to regain control of the situation was to kill him, or there was some psychological reason that he didn't like these particular people.
Detectives believe they are dealing with an extremely violent and unpredictable criminal and suspect he may still be in the area.
Montgomery County was his basis of operation. That's where he felt most comfortable. That's where he did all his murders. That's where he did his most risky business. That's where he laid in wait for people. So it was obvious he had some strong tie to Montgomery County.
Investigators suspect he will strike again and hope to stop him before he does. But they have no clues that can help identify him.
These are looking fantastic.
And the killer's weapon is the only thing that can connect him to the murders.
The best evidence we got is the bullets. And if we can get him and get the gun, then we definitely have a very, very strong case.
Now this one came out of...
Authorities don't want to give the killer a reason to destroy his gun, and with it their only evidence.
We're gonna make another mistake. We're gonna move over.
So they decide to keep the ballistics match away from the media.
Sound good?
If we supply the information to the press that all the bullets came from the same gun, be a good likelihood that he would either dispose of the weapon, or he would, in worst case scenario, obtain a different weapon and keep committing the crime.
More than a week after the Hastruti killing, a man wearing a stocking mask and latex gloves robs a bank in Chantilly, Virginia. The bank's video security system captures his image. A witness tells the FBI that the bank robber fled in a late-model white vehicle and gives them the license plate number. The description of the getaway car matches the vehicle stolen from Hastruti, attracting the attention of Montgomery County detectives. But the license plate is not Hastruti's. Investigators trace the plate and discover it had been stolen from a vehicle in Annandale, Virginia.
I've seen them around together and stuff, and it really looked like that.
For detectives, this leaves open the possibility that Hastruti's car was used in the bank robbery. The Montgomery County Task Force, which now includes agents from the FBI, requests copies of the bank's surveillance tapes to learn what they can about the robber. Investigators watch the crime unfold and notice the robber is carrying a revolver of the same make and caliber used in the 4 homicides. They think he could be the killer. The footage is the best lead they have in identifying a suspect, according to FBI Special Agent Robert Coffey.
We had a great piece of video that actually showed the individual, the handgun. That picture was actually put on the news locally and regionally to try to see if we could spark some interest as far as someone identifying him.
Investigators also release information that their suspect, the money he stole, and the vehicle he was driving may be covered in red dye.
If you do anything, a phone call, anything, I'm gonna shoot somebody.
The teller managed to slip dye packs into the bag of money. And a dye pack is a device that once it goes through the door of the bank, it's electronically activated. There's a timer on it. It gives a person a little bit of time to get away from the bank, and then it explodes, spewing this terrible red dye. It stains. It's very difficult to get off. It gets on the money, and it will not come off the money. It takes a while to get it off you personally.
5 days after the bank robbery, police in Northern Virginia find an abandoned car bearing the stolen plates reported by the witness. A check of the vehicle identification number proves that it is Astrudi's car. The officer peers inside, examining the interior.
We had the red dye stains in it from the dye packs from the bank. We had proof positive that it had been used in the bank robbery.
Officers impound the vehicle and transport it to the police garage for processing. Technicians find bloodstains inside the car and collect samples as evidence. But they do not find anything that can identify the killer. Lab examiners extract DNA from the blood evidence and compare it to Astrudi's. It is a match. Finally, investigators are able to look at the various crimes and understand their suspect's overall plan.
It's gelled into something that makes a little bit of sense. You went from a situation where you had a whole bunch of motives that really didn't make sense to now a concrete motive. This person is killing people to steal cars to commit bank robberies.
Although authorities now understand why the suspect is murdering innocent people, they have no clue who he is. Investigators face the nearly impossible challenge of identifying and catching a ruthless gunman before he kills again. The FBI and Maryland's Montgomery County Police are hunting a killer who has already committed 4 homicides, as well as a bank robbery. Several FBI agents are part of the task force pursuing the gunman, including Special Agent Robert Coffey.
One of the main roles of the FBI, specifically in this type of a crime, is that we work with many different agencies to corral all of the investigators and bring forth the information in one kind of a think tank.
This multi-agency approach is an invaluable investigative resource for Montgomery County homicide detective Ed Day.
When you start working with multiple jurisdictions on different cases, well, the more jurisdictions are involved, the more jurisdictions have an interest, the more assets you can draw from.
The task force now understands their suspect's crime pattern. He steals a person's car at gunpoint, killing his victim, then uses the vehicle in a bank robbery. Investigators continue to look for past unsolved cases that involved a similar pattern.
nothing occurs in a vacuum. Somebody doesn't just start killing people, so that's when we really started doing the research.
They identify an incident that occurred in their county almost a year earlier.
Is this your car? No, it's not my car.
Our victim was a maintenance man, an Hispanic male.
Give me your keys.
He was accosted by a white male carrying a large caliber dark handgun.
Where's your car?
When the masked gunman asked for the victim's car keys, the man claimed he didn't own a car.
Oh,
The suspect demanded to know which car belonged to him. He was told to turn around and face away from the suspect, get down on his knees, and put his hand behind his head.
where's your car? Where's your car?
Our victim at that time felt quite certain that he was going to be executed.
This better be your car.
The suspect fired 3 shots. One of the shots hit him in the forearm.
The victim managed to flee down an alley and hide behind a bush.
And spent some minutes there waiting for the situation to calm down.
After 10 minutes, the victim returned to the street and waved down the first car he saw, hoping for assistance. To his horror, it was the gunman. An alert neighbor had called police. The victim's life was spared. The following day, a witness reported seeing a masked gunman leaving the scene of a bank robbery in Centerville, Virginia. Police later recovered the getaway vehicle and determined it was the car stolen from the maintenance man. Investigators examined the evidence gathered at the scene of the carjacking. All they have is a bullet fragment that was lodged in the victim's arm. Ballistics expert Joe Capera.
One does not necessarily need the whole bullet as long as the fragment that is left that he is examining has enough ballistic evidence on it that he can use.
He tests the fragment against the other recovered bullets to determine if that case is connected to their current investigation. The bullet fragment matches, but the task force is still no closer to identifying their suspect.
The lab's not getting anything out of these. I mean, these cars are...
With little hard evidence, investigators study the killer's behavior as exhibited through his actions, searching for clues to his identity.
This guy...
Authorities examine the newly linked case and determine he is unusually bold and cocky.
When the investigators got together and discussed the commitment level of this individual to stay at a crime scene for 10 minutes waiting for a witness to come back, raised our level of concern about the subject himself.
He's not in a big hurry. He feels pretty comfortable that the police aren't going to be there anytime soon.
Investigators also believe the suspect has a quick-tempered, vengeful personality.
He's very upset with his victim. He's decided that he has been himself wronged in some way, and he's going to make him pay for it.
But authorities cannot understand why the suspect uses what appears to be an unnecessary level of violence during the carjackings.
It does not make sense to kill somebody in the least risky part of the crime. The biggest risk he's taken is when he goes into those banks, as far as getting captured, being identified, or running into any real obstacles. Taking these people, innocent people off in the middle of the night in a ground of his own choosing where he can isolate them. I mean, he's safer at that location than he is at anywhere else and anything else he does. It just doesn't make sense why he chose to kill these people.
Their suspect is not only dangerously disturbed, but also clever.
Yeah, we'll just pull in here.
One of the more interesting parts of The MO that this individual used was the number of jurisdictions through which he perpetrated his crimes.
He exploits the fact that no single police department can readily see his entire crime pattern.
We have a carjacking in one jurisdiction. We have a stolen tag from a second jurisdiction. We have a bank robbery in a third jurisdiction. And then we have the car abandoned in a fourth jurisdiction.
The gunman's efforts to stymie police do not stop there. Each time he abandons a stolen car, he leaves it unlocked with the keys in plain view.
One of the difficult parts of recovering the vehicles following the robberies is that they were being driven by other people. By leaving the vehicle with the keys in it, the vehicles were then subsequently restolen. Leaving the vehicles to be restolen destroyed whatever forensic evidence would have been left behind. So the only thing we had to match all of the crimes was the forensic evidence from the ballistics.
Investigators continue to look for additional unsolved carjackings in which the vehicle was later used in a bank robbery. They identify a case that occurred within miles of the other thefts.
A woman was walking out of a doctor's office and realized that she was being followed. She turned to try to go back to the doctor's office, but was confronted by the individual and then asked for her keys. They walked over to the car.
Come on, come on, come on. Start it. Start the car. Start
The
the
gunman
car.
forced the frightened woman to start her car.
And upon starting the vehicle, had her get out and kneel down next to a wall.
No. On your knees. Put your hands up. There you go.
Upon kneeling down, he had her wait there for a short period of time.
She described it as 30 or 40 seconds passed.
Now, if you listen.
You have to wonder is how long, much of that time did he spend thinking about whether or not he was going to shoot her. She was very compliant, did everything she was told to do right when she was told to do it. That might have saved her.
The next day, her vehicle was used in a bank robbery. The investigators wonder why their suspect allowed this woman to live, yet killed the others. They come up with several theories.
The fact that she was a Caucasian female might have had something to do with it. He might have had harbored some malice towards Hispanic people or foreign people, or it could be something simple about he lost control in those situations. In fact, the best way to gain control was to kill him.
The task force has little to work with, but is determined to go on the offensive.
Now we're trying to figure out how can we get ahead of him? How can we be in a position where we can be waiting for him when he does something? Or we can be prepared to mobilize very quickly with the resources necessary to get him.
The investigators focus on the one aspect of the suspect's crime pattern that they can anticipate.
We could not predict when a carjacking would take place. They were too random. We did, however, know that following the carjacking, we would have a bank robbery.
If authorities can only predict which banks he will rob or where he will be traveling, they might have a chance to catch him. A masked gunman strikes again and again in suburban Maryland, just north of the nation's capital. He shoots his victims while stealing their cars. Which he later uses to rob banks.
Hey guys, I got some photos of the bank.
In the spring of 1992, the FBI and Montgomery County Police analyzed their suspect's habits in hopes of trapping him.
Identify why this guy's picking these banks. You go ahead and stick him up on the
Homicide Detective Ed Day
We had people take aerial photographs of every crime scene and the different escape routes and things of that nature, trying to find some logical pattern to what he was doing, something that would maybe give us a clue. What are consistencies? What are inconsistencies? Is there anything like that that we can use to our advantage to foretell what he might do next?
On the surface, the list of crime scenes appears random. But a closer look by investigators reveals all the banks he robbed share a single trait.
Everywhere he went, he had access to a major roadway that would take him pretty quickly to a thoroughfare like 495 or 270 or something like that.
The task force shifts their focus from predicting where the suspect will strike next to catching him when he makes his escape after a bank robbery. They decide they will cast a dragnet on all highway exit ramps in the area. FBI Special Agent Robert Coffey.
We developed a plan where we would cast a net using all of the jurisdictions, law enforcement within the Washington area, to where once the bank robbery were to take place, he would have to pass through some points of the net.
Meeting with officers from every police department in the area, the task force details their plan. They will watch for any carjacking reports resembling their suspect's MO. Officers from each jurisdiction will then prepare for a quick response if a bank is subsequently robbed. They will immediately stake out pre-assigned highway exit ramps targeting the stolen car.
Once he's carjacked the vehicles, we're going to implement the plan.
There was enough support at each particular location that he could be followed. We could bring to bear enough additional manpower to make a stop of our choosing and, of course, effect an arrest if we were lucky enough to spot him.
Ready to cast their net, investigators wait for the suspect to steal a car.
You're all key players in the plan. Let's get them.
At 5 a.m. each morning, Special Agent Coffey begins his day by reviewing the reports of all the area car thefts from the night before. He looks for the one that matches their suspect's MO.
Take a look at it.
If the suspect stole a car, the task force needs to identify it before banks open at 9.
Take a look at it.
But months pass with no sign of their suspect. Investigators begin to worry that the killer has gone underground and may never be caught.
We assume he's obviously stressed at this particular point. He's feeling the heat of the notoriety of what he's done.
October 9th, 1992.
Special Agent Coffey.
8 months after the killer's most recent slaying.
I get notification from our Baltimore agents that another carjacking has taken place. We've got a white male with a ski mask, latex gloves, and a handgun. It's taken place all the way up in Baltimore.
At approximately 7 a.m., a 15-year-old girl walked to her mother's car. Suddenly, an armed man approached her and demanded the keys.
Police officer heard this and came to her aid.
Get away from the car! Get away from the car! Get away from the car! Get away from the car!
There was an exchange of gunfire. And the carjacker took her vehicle and fled the scene.
Tell them we have our car. It's a black Honda Civic.
We were feeling very good because we had very, very fresh information, and we knew he was on the move, and he was in Baltimore and more than likely on the way back here.
The task force determines there is no need to wait for a bank robbery.
Based on that information, the task force casts the net around the Washington metro area, hoping that he's going to come back through that net.
Patrolmen and SWAT units from jurisdictions throughout Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Northern Virginia race to prearranged locations on freeway exit ramps to watch for the stolen car. Since police cannot be sure if the suspect has had time to switch the license plates, they pull over every vehicle matching its description. Each time, they know they may face a shooter who has already taken 4 lives.
Let me see your hand. See your hand. Driver, walk back. Driver, look, you're going slowly.
The FBI and police departments throughout the Washington, D.C. area hunt a suspected killer. They stop every vehicle matching the description of the one they believe he stole an hour earlier. Police pull over dozens of cars, but come up empty.
What's going on?
You got a girl.
As the search continues, 50 miles away in western Maryland, Brunswick police officer Gary Klein is on routine patrol.
I observed a small black and color passenger vehicle. I saw that there was no front license plate on it. And as the vehicle passed me, I looked over and observed the driver had a nylon stocking pulled down over his face. Kind of shocked me, and I was like, not really sure what's going on here, but kind of drew my attention real quick. I turned around, caught back up to the car, radioed my dispatchers and the 911 center, and requested information on the tag. And the subject in the small black car sped off and wouldn't pull over for me. Then I'm informed by our dispatchers that this subject is wanted for shooting at a Baltimore City officer.
The hundreds of officers mobilized in the D.C. area are too far away to assist. Officer Klein is alone against a ruthless killer.
The adrenaline's pumping now because I'm pursuing this vehicle, knowing somewhere in there I'm going to have to confront this individual. The speeds that we maintain in some places were 90 mile per hour to a little over 100 mile per hour.
Officer Klein chases the suspect from Maryland into Virginia.
He was very intent on getting away from me.
Dispatcher, we're getting ready to go right on Interstate 71.
He just went straight down the middle of the bridge, just forcing people east and westbound out of his way. I had to back off because I didn't want to endanger myself or the innocent people or citizens out on the street, where he was actually able to gain a good bit of distance on me. But once the roadway cleared up a little bit where I could safely get through the vehicles, I was able to catch back up to him.
Klein pursues the suspect into West Virginia.
Made a right off Route 340, and he went down this small asphalt road, and when he hit that, he was going too fast with the rain and everything and lost control and struck the curb. Stepped out of the vehicle with my weapon drawn, and I seen him kind of lean over in the car towards the passenger seat, and I seen the gun come up inside the car.
Officer Klein is concerned about firing his gun in a public place.
When you discharge your weapon, you just don't want a round just going out there somewhere, and you could strike somebody innocent. You have a split second to make this decision, and whatever decision you make can affect you for the rest of your life. At that point, he placed the car in reverse and sped backwards quickly towards my cruiser in what I believe was an attempt to ram my car or strike me. proceeded down a small access road. And I proceeded after him. He sped into this little dead-end dirt gravel area, and he tried to go behind this bulldozer and wrecked into it. There's nowhere for him to go, and now I have to confront him. At that time, I see the gun coming up, which just kind of made my heart jump out of my chest.
While the suspect ducks for cover, Officer Klein strategically moves to his right.
You don't want to stay in one position, especially after he already knows where you're at.
Klein's tactic works. The suspect fires at the position where Klein used to be.
I actually fired more shots at him as he ran to get to the backside of his car for cover.
With backup units still minutes away, the lone officer fights to stay alive in a violent face-off with a vicious killer.
Let me see him. Put your...
The suspected killer is in a desperate shootout in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, with lone police officer Gary Klein.
I see him start to come up from behind his car through the passenger side window with the gun raised, and he's coming up. I remember firing at him and striking the car, and he ducked down behind the car again. Several seconds passed. He raises back up. You can hear it, the actual sound of the bullet striking the car, the metal, and he ducks back down behind the car again.
Finally, backup arrives.
When they put their hand on my shoulder and I knew who they were, it was this big relief. Burden was lifted off my shoulders because now I knew I had fellow officers there. Within the next 10 minutes, police officers from several jurisdictions were on the scene.
Come out from behind the car.
The gunman realizes he is outnumbered.
Then the suspect stood up and walked out in front of myself and my cruiser, probably about 15 yards, and put the gun to his head. And I continued to yell at him to drop the gun, to throw the gun on the ground, at which time he told me he wouldn't do that.
Listen, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
West Virginia State Police Corporal John Jeffries begins negotiating with the gunman.
We can work through this. Let me help you. The only thing we've done so far...
After several minutes of negotiation, the suspect then pulled the nylon stocking up on the top of his head. Still wasn't able to really get a good, clear look at him.
The suspect begins to talk. He says he's an unemployed house painter.
He said that he was just upset. He had had some relation problems with his girlfriend, that he had done some things he wasn't real happy about, and just all these things had piled up and just troubled him, and he didn't know why he was doing the things he was doing.
After a 45-minute standoff, the gunman makes an unusual demand.
I remember him saying he wanted to talk to his mother. So he gave his mother's name and phone number.
Several tense minutes pass as police attempt to reach the suspect's mother.
He advised the suspect that they had his mother on the phone.
The woman on the line asks the negotiator for the suspect's name.
He identified himself as Alan Newman. He wasn't real sure of the police. He didn't know if we were just lying to him or what we were doing. He said, well, ask my mom what my favorite cookie is. I remember Corporal Jeffries saying, your mom said your favorite cookie is chocolate chip. And he started crying. It really shocked me because I thought he was just going to drop the gun and give up. You see the hammer coming back and everything's like slow motion. You see the hammer drop. You're waiting for the gun to go off. And it didn't.
Seizing the opportunity, officers rush in and subdue the gunman, ending the standoff.
After it was all over and done, very relieved, very appreciative of all of the guys that were there that day. I was able to help to get this person off the street and put him where he needed to be so that nobody else would be hurt.
Police take Alan Newman into custody and confiscate his Ruger 357 as evidence. It is the same model used in the murders, according to FBI Special Agent Robert Coffey.
From the prior ballistics, we knew what type of gun it would be. It would have been a specific Ruger make, and in fact, that's what he was carrying. The same types of bullets that were used in the shootings and the homicides were, in fact, still in the weapon.
You have told us that over and over.
After nearly a year of hard work, investigators finally meet the killer face to face.
We no longer have someone running throughout the counties killing people for cars. We were very excited about getting the chance to talk to the individual to find out why.
Go ahead, take it.
While Newman admits to the Baltimore carjacking, he refuses to admit to any of the murders, according to homicide detective Ed Day.
You don't have anything.
Throughout the interview process, he remained pretty cocky and he thought he was pretty cool.
Investigators continue to press Newman. While at a firearms laboratory, a ballistics expert fires Newman's gun into an 800-gallon tank of water. The examiner compares the unique markings on the fired bullet to those on the bullets recovered from the 4 murders and the attempted homicide. Ballistics expert Joe Capera.
It is a scientific certainty that this is the firearm that fired these bullets, and no other firearm could possibly do that.
You want to hear it again?
After hours of interrogation, investigators receive the ballistics report.
That's like the magic piece of evidence, and that's the one that you really knew would seal the whole case. We had physical, undeniable evidence that we could put in front of a jury that he could not refute in any way, shape, or form. We could convict him without much trouble, and we could have gotten the death sentence with the information that we had, which put it over the top, and he decided it was best to make a deal for life rather than take the chance on being executed.
Alan Newman pleads guilty to all the charges against him and is sentenced to 5 life terms without parole, plus 100 years for handgun violations.
Looking back, it was the collective efforts of more than a dozen police agencies contributing interviews and evidence that led to the successful conclusion of this case.
The accomplishment for all police officers and all investigators is to arrest the bad guy and put him in jail. And when you do that, you get a nice warm feeling for about 10 minutes until the next case comes in and you have to start all over again.
But for now, every investigator who worked this case is content to know they have ended one man's violent rampage. His trademark is gunfire. His goal, grab the cash, no matter who gets in the way. In his wake, he leaves terrified victims, fleeting glimpses and few clues for the FBI agents on his trail. But they are determined to find him and end this gunman's reign of terror.
In the late 1980s, the FBI matched wits with a cunning bank robber, a lone gunman responsible for the longest string of unsolved bank robberies in FBI history. I'm Jim Kallstrom, former head of the FBI's New York office. The robber's planning was meticulous. He executed his crimes with military precision. It would take the combined skills of local police and dozens of agents to catch a criminal mastermind they called the Shootist.
San Diego, California. On November 5th, 1987, the late morning quiet shatters with a gun blast in a local bank. A gunman orders customers to the ground, threatening to shoot whoever disobeys. The robber forces the teller to fill his bag with money from all the cash drawers, warning against alarms, die packs, or marked bills. He avoids the vault, which would take more time. This robber hits hard and gets out fast. Employees call police immediately. But even in the best-case scenario, it takes several seconds to get through to an operator, and several minutes for dispatched units to arrive. By then, the gunman is long gone. Authorities conduct a full crime scene investigation. Although the man wore no gloves, he was careful enough not to touch any surface and left behind no fingerprints. Bank robbery is a federal crime. The case goes to the FBI. Bank robbery coordinator Special Agent Jack Kelly considers this gunman a top priority. He's a takeover robber, taking command of the entire bank rather than slipping a teller a note. It's a rare style, used in less than 5% of bank robberies.
Even on the takeover style robbers, most of them didn't fire weapons in the bank. So he was, again, even a smaller percentage of the small percentage of takeover robbers that we had at the time. So from that aspect, he was considered to be much more aggressive and much more dangerous.
Also, he doesn't use a partner inside the bank, as most takeover robbers do. His violence has a profound effect on his victims.
Victims in a takeover-style robbery are pretty traumatized by the event, especially when there's shots fired in the bank, and consequently your descriptions can vary dramatically. I mean, as far as the age, the height, the weight, everything.
Some victims say he was wearing a disguise. Others disagree. The differing descriptions are of no real help, so agents turn to the bank's security camera photos.
We did have some surveillance pictures of mediocre quality at that time, and it was not a great deal of assistance to us in trying to identify who this individual might have been.
The photos show only that the robber is a white male about 6 feet tall with a beard and mustache. Agents face a serious challenge. No evidence left behind. No reliable description of the robber. Special Agent Kelly believes it's not the man's first time robbing a bank. Reviewing unsolved cases for similarities, Kelly suspects the same man robbed another San Diego bank a year earlier.
The modus operandi was identical, with someone coming in the bank, firing their gun in the ceiling, vaulting the counter. Similar description.
The gunman left no evidence behind.
The fact that there were so few clues was an indication that this guy was pretty good, and he really probably planned these robberies very well.
Soon, agents learn the gunman is not finished in the area.
After he robbed the second time in San Diego, he actually came back a month later and robbed a third time in San Diego using the identical MO and firing the shots into the ceiling.
The robber's choice to fire his weapon makes him a deadly threat.
I don't think a robber that does something like this would hesitate to shoot somebody if somebody actually tried to stop him.
California?
As a rule, Special Agent Kelly attaches code names to serial bank robbers to allow for shorthand communication among agents. Also, a catchy nickname increases publicity.
The media would be more willing to pick up the story and to show pictures in the newspaper or on television, which would hopefully help us generate some leads.
Kelly dubs this one the shootist for his distinctive and dangerous MO. On December 14th, 1987, the shootist robs a fourth California bank in Mission Viejo, 70 miles north of San Diego.
Check inside the bank. I'm going to go see what's in the convenience store here, see what we can find.
It was my responsibility to review all the robberies that would come in from the surrounding regional FBI offices.
FBI agents respond to the bank.
When a robbery occurs, you do an investigation inside the bank itself for any evidence, but you also do an investigation outside the bank to look for evidence or any possible witnesses that may have seen this individual, and we did both on all these robberies.
Yet they get nowhere, like they're chasing a ghost. So far, the shootist has stolen at least $44,000. But it's not just about the money. Agents worry that at some point he'll shoot someone.
We're dealing with somebody we thought that was going to become more and more aggressive during the course of his robberies, and consequently more and more dangerous. And it was somebody that definitely needed to be identified and stopped.
After a year-long absence from California, the shootist struck 3 times in 5 weeks. Kelly suspects the shootist must have hit somewhere in that year absence.
He's got to be somewhere else. He's got to be robbing banks somewhere else besides California.
Checking with other FBI field offices, Kelly discovers a string of similar unsolved robberies in Texas, with dates that fit neatly into the gap between California robberies. During one of the unsolved heists, the gunman used the sort of violence agents have feared. In July 1986, a white male with a beard and sunglasses hit a bank in Abilene, Texas. After firing his gun into the ceiling, he forced the manager to fill his bag. As in California, he wanted only cash from the teller drawers and warned against alarms, die packs, or marked bills. The employees followed all instructions to survive, but then...
No! No! Don't you move! Don't you move! Don't be looking at me! Stay down and see what's gonna happen to you!
The robber ran off, leaving the bank manager writhing in pain from a gunshot to the abdomen.
Go lock the door, go lock the door. I need the police here right away. I'm at Everly Bank. We've been robbed and the manager's been shot.
Texas Rangers, the FBI, and EMTs responded immediately. The manager was gravely injured, but she survived. The other witnesses couldn't provide a solid description. It happened so fast, and they were so terrified, they didn't get a good look at the gunman. The crime scene investigation came up empty, and the security cameras provided only more photos of a robber with obscured features. Special Agent Kelly contacts the Texas Rangers, who are working the unsolved robberies.
Ranger Thomas.
And investigators in the 2 states pool their information. They know the shootist targets branches near highway on-ramps for a quicker escape. The investigators agree the shootist likely has a getaway driver, but no car has been spotted. Each heist is as clean as the last, and no solid leads emerge. The shootist pulls off 6 more heists in Texas and California in 1988. Investigators hoped the media attention would continue. They need someone who recognizes the gunman to call in a tip.
But because of the danger of this individual, we were hoping to get as much cooperation as we could, and we did. Local newspapers would run pictures of this individual. The local television stations ran pictures of this individual.
With the ongoing media coverage, the shootist rises to infamy. His is an astonishing spree. 14 known bank heists in 3 years, all perfectly planned and executed. The shootist is destined to make FBI record books. A cunning adversary, like they've never seen before. By 1988, a man called the shootist has robbed at least 14 banks in Texas and California. Special Agent Jack Kelly.
He was well organized and planned things out well enough where he didn't leave a lot to track him with.
What he does leave behind are bullets fired into the ceiling. If forensic examiners can find rifling marks on the slugs, they can run them through their ballistics database. And if the gun has been used in other crimes, they might get a lead on the gunman's identity. But that's a lot of ifs. Ballistics experts determined the slugs came from a .38 caliber revolver. But there's a problem with finding traceable rifling characteristics.
The rounds that we did find were pretty well damaged. They weren't really going to be much benefit for identification as far as the rifling was concerned.
The shootist continues his spree. His 17th known robbery is in the San Diego suburb of University City. Once again, no hard evidence remains in the bank. But outside, investigators find signs of just how meticulous the shootist is. It appears that before the heist, he loosened fence boards across his escape route, so that after the robbery, he could reach his getaway car faster. Special Agent Kelly has chased more than 100 robbers, but this one's the most professional he's encountered by far.
And you had to give him some credit, he was good. But you always had the hope that maybe there was some piece of evidence or some witness, some other part of the puzzle that you could put together.
Yet despite a full neighborhood canvass, agents come up empty. By the middle of 1989, the shootist has made off with nearly $250,000. And he's struck in at least 10 different cities.
Anytime an individual is mobile and he's able to move from not only city to city, but state to state, it really kind of complicates the investigation because there are multiple jurisdictions.
Kelly brings together law enforcement from around the country. California and Texas FBI agents, local police, and Texas Rangers work together, determined to find that one clue that has eluded them.
The more eyes and ears you have out there at the time, the more likely you are to get a break and catch this individual.
Because the shootist acts like a professional, agents suspect he has an arrest record for robbery.
One of the logical leads to take is to look for people that just recently are released from prison and maybe going back to their old ways again.
Investigators asked about bank robbers released from prison in 1986, when the shootist's spree began. But it's a dead end. No one recognizes the man. In the surveillance photos, it's difficult to determine what the man really looks like.
And the hair, the mustache, it didn't appear to be real. I mean, it was extremely dark in color.
The task force concludes the shootist likely uses elaborate disguises. Wigs, mustaches, even makeup to change his complexion.
When we first realized that he was probably wearing disguises, we actually took a number of the surveillance pictures to different costume shops.
Agents show shop employees the photos, asking if they recognize the man or the disguises. But it's another dead end. Investigators analyzed the shootist's bank robberies, hoping to find a pattern. They compare the amounts taken to the frequency of the heists and determine the shootist spends about $3,000 a week. When he runs low on money, he hits another bank.
You were able to see, not necessarily a pattern, but you knew that he was going to need X amount of money after a certain period of time.
Investigators note the shootist usually strikes on Mondays and Fridays and often robs different branches of the same banking companies.
There are hundreds of bank branches in the general area where he hits. He was just a kid in a candy store out there with trying to select where he wanted to rob next, and it was our job to try to outguess him.
The team sets up surveillance on branches of the banks the shooter seems to favor. They watch on Mondays and Fridays, the robber's favorite days. It's a long shot.
And the problem we had was we had absolutely no idea where exactly he would hit. There were so many branches, so many targets.
Sancho, this is Team 3, reporting healthy.
Manpower is limited. Predicting which bank he'll hit next proves impossible. Bank robbers often use casinos to launder stolen money. The task force sends bank surveillance photos to casino security offices. One California casino responds with a good lead. A regular high roller there looks a lot like the shootist.
They were willing enough to give us their surveillance photos of the individual that they had suspected.
Agents track down the man and interview him. He does resemble the shootist, but he has solid alibis for the robbery dates. Investigators eliminate him as a suspect. Another lead crossed off the list. On June 23, 1989, the elusive shootist strikes in Arlington, Texas, his 18th known heist. He has now hit banks over a 1,400-mile area. This time, a teller slips an exploding dye pack into his bag. When it blows, it renders the stolen money unusable. A few hours later, the shootist robs another bank. He's never struck twice in one day. It's a reckless move.
Away from the counter, hands out where I can see him.
Agents fear he is becoming more desperate. Special Agent Kelly fears it's only a matter of time before someone gets hurt.
The more robberies that he did and the more times he shot the weapon, including the time he shot the teller down in Texas, that's a great concern to law enforcement, obviously, because this individual, we thought, had a lot of potential for possibly killing someone eventually.
And the way the shootist operates, he could take his next victim anywhere, at any time. In the late 80s, a team of investigators from Texas and California hunts the shootist, a cunning bank robber who begins each heist with gunfire, grabs the cash fast, then disappears without a trace. As the robberies pile up, the shootist becomes infamous in the Western U.S. police community. Everyone's on the lookout. Special Agent Jack Kelly.
Anytime in any jurisdiction that the shootist hit a bank, we would send out our communications to the other offices as quickly as possible, providing them with whatever information we have in the way of maybe some new clues or new witnesses or any better surveillance photographs.
From the photos, the task force determines the shootist likely uses a Smith & Wesson .38 revolver, a handgun popular with police departments. Investigators also notice he indexes his finger on the side of his weapon, just as officers are trained to do. It's an ominous possibility. The shootist might be a cop.
You, come here.
Even if he's not an officer, he seems to know how they operate. Investigators suspect he goes as far as surveilling local officers to learn their patrol routes, and then chooses targets away from those routes to increase police response time. The elusive gunman treats bank robbery like a profession, and his planning has paid off in more than 20 robberies. Investigators welcome the continuing media coverage. They know their best chance of finding the shootist might be through the public's help. One witness in particular provides an interesting lead. After the 1989 heist in Mission Viejo, a resident near the robbed bank saw a man climb into the trunk of a car, which then sped off. He described the car as a red four-door with California plates, but he didn't see the driver or get the plate number. Agents run checks on every car that fits the description in California, but there are thousands. It would take months to track down each car. But the sighting does confirm one suspicion.
When we found out that he was getting into the trunk of a vehicle, we knew that he obviously had an accomplice in these robberies.
On March 30th, 1990, the shootist robs the same Texas bank he hit a year earlier. To investigators, the repeat job means he's getting even more brash, unafraid of being recognized by anyone. By the end of 1990, the task force ties the shootist to 27 robberies that have netted him nearly $400,000, all without a single usable print left behind.
He was very cautious about vaulting the counters, not to touch things. Even going out the doors, he would hit the doors with his elbows or his hip to push them open.
Somehow, agents need to find a way into the shootist's secretive world. They take the case to behavioral profilers at the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia.
It's not that it's going to be able to place a name on the individual, but it'll kind of give us a little bit more about the guy's personality.
Studying details of each known robbery, the FBI profiler creates a behavioral sketch of the shootist. Because most criminals start working in their comfort zone, the profiler suspects the shootist is from Texas, where the first robberies occurred. The gunman's level of precision indicates possible military training.
Come here.
Since the shootist has gone so long without anyone turning him in, the profiler suggests the robber has only one fiercely loyal accomplice. And experience with other takeover robbers makes the profiler believe the shootist will grow more violent as his spree continues. It's possible the gunman will choose a shootout over surrender.
This guy's going to be willing to shoot his way out of the bank or even take hostages to make an escape from the bank if he's cornered.
In April 1991,
did you actually see a gun?
The shootist expands his turf into Northern California, robbing a San Jose bank of $15,000.
Okay, did he shoot the guy?
San Jose Detective Sergeant Jack Baxter.
We never found a witness as to where he went, what kind of car he had, did he have accomplices. We had no idea.
This time, the shootist leaves something behind. A partial palm print is found on the counter. But investigators can't make a match. Law enforcement agencies don't include palm prints in their files. The task force is back to square one. 2 months later, the shootist robs a bank in Bellevue, Washington, just outside Seattle. He's expanding his territory.
What do you have? I got off you with Bellevue, Washington.
Seattle was now in the loop. Now we knew that he was broadening his horizons and moving on to other states.
The elusive bandit is one of the most prolific and widespread robbers in modern FBI history. By 1991, the 5-year statute of limitations expires on his earliest robberies, so he can't be charged for them. Agents are racing the clock.
Well, he was a violent multi-state bank robber who was very successful, been hitting every 6 to 8 weeks, and no one had a clue as to who he was or where he was from.
In August, the shootist robs a bank in Los Altos, California, bringing his known total to $474,457. Investigators find a solid clue, a false mustache. It's the first evidence recovered that might be physically linked directly to the shootist. But at the time, DNA analysis is expensive and time-consuming, and they have no suspect profile to compare it to.
Unfortunately, that wasn't of any evidentiary value to us other than the fact that we confirmed that he was wearing a disguise, obviously.
By the end of 1991, investigators linked the shootist to 33 armed robberies in 18 cities. Investigators have nothing. They need a break, and soon. Investigating the longest string of unsolved bank robberies in modern FBI history, agents have little but grainy photos of the man they call the shootist. In them, they see the robber is wearing something beneath his shirt. FBI Special Agent Jack Kelly.
At first, we thought it might have been body armor, but under closer scrutiny, it appeared that this thing was really covering the lower abdomen and back portion of his body.
It could be a brace, meaning the shootist might have a bad back.
Although he really didn't display that with his ability to vault the teller counters. But these back braces were probably just to support his ability to be able to do that.
Determined to run down every lead, investigators contact chiropractors in the areas near the banks. But they have only blurry surveillance photos of a disguised man, and they can't get to every doctor in 3 states.
And there's quite a few chiropractors, but we did cover as many as we possibly could, and we really didn't have any luck.
It's another dead end in the years-long search for the mysterious bandit. 1992 brings 7 more shootist heists, including the repeat robbery of the bank in Bellevue, Washington. New total, nearly $600,000. Seattle FBI Special Agent Don Glasser.
Tried to process the bank for fingerprints, extensive interviews of the witnesses, and of course, our wildest hope would that someone would say, yes, I saw them get into a specific car.
No, I walked by, I saw the people standing out there.
But no one saw anything.
Where are you heading to? Well, I was heading to the other bank. I gotta take a deposit over there. Okay.
There is this concern that you're not serving the public well, that here's a man that's allowed to come in and do a bank robbery and fire a shot, and eventually there could be an accident or an intentional shooting. And, you know, you feel it's frustration that you didn't do everything you could, although you can't think of anything else to be done.
They must stop the shootist before he graduates to murder. During a heist in San Jose, the shootist's luck begins to wane. This time, before he vanishes, the bank security camera catches the best shots yet of his face. A San Jose police forensic artist uses the photos to build a composite sketch of what the shootist would look like without his disguises. Recreating features that are obscured requires a thorough knowledge of human physiology and a remarkable artistic eye. Agents blanket the target areas with the sketch, asking Crime Stopper programs to air it regularly, and placing it in dozens of banks. San Jose Detective Sergeant Jack Baxter.
We thought that in order to get this guy, we needed the help of the community. We needed somebody to call in with information, something that they had seen or heard.
On May 11th, 1994, investigators get the break they need. An anonymous caller says he knows the shootist, though it's no slam dunk.
The information was fairly generic. The name that was given was Johnny Williams, or John Williams, and then he also supposedly used the name of Robert Hall.
The caller says Williams is about 40 years old, drives a red 4-door, and has a devoted accomplice, his wife. He says Williams is always armed, has a hair-trigger temper and has vowed never to be taken alive. In fact, he and his wife have a suicide pact if they're ever cornered. This is a good tip, but the case is far from over.
Those names are so common that there were literally hundreds of Johnny Williams and Robert Halls that we had to go through. And we tried to narrow the list down to the ones that were approximately the same age as the caller had given.
Agents cull through California DMV records and find a Johnny Madison Williams and a Robert Hall that appear in their photos to be the same man. They then compare the photos to the composite sketch.
It was an exact match for the sketch done by our police artist, just as if he had done it right off the picture. So we knew that we had the right guy.
California fingerprints drivers. The DMV fingerprint records confirm Hall and Williams are the same man. Johnny Madison Williams is a former Marine from Texas and has a record for robbery and theft there. Williams' wife, Carol, bought a .38 revolver like the one in bank security footage. And Carol drives a red four-door registered in her maiden name. Investigators find no legitimate source of income, yet the couple lives in a $350,000 house overlooking the ocean in Los Osos, California. FBI Special Agent Jim Wilkins.
The area where he was living was on high ground overlooking Morro Bay. It was an affluent area that actually had one road in.
It's an exposed area where agents might stand out as strangers.
We did not know where Johnny Williams was at the time.
Despite the risk, FBI agents have to check the house. They find a spot they hope is obscured and set up surveillance.
We knew he carried a weapon. We knew he would use it. We also had information from the anonymous tipster that he carried that weapon all the time.
The agents see no sign that anyone's at the house. The team watches and waits.
We had made a contingency plan that if we saw Williams returning in that vehicle, we would do a felony car stop before he got into the neighborhood where we had safe fields of fire and where there were no escape routes for him in his vehicle.
Agents watch the house for several days, but the couple fails to show.
Staying to the end of the shift.
Investigators suspect the shootist is off preparing for another heist. Jack Kelly has a hunch it will be in the Seattle area. The shootist is robbed there in one-year intervals, and the year is up. Kelly contacts Seattle Special Agent Don Glasser.
He said, it's definitely going to happen. He's going to definitely rob in your area, so be on the lookout.
It's just a hunch, but it's all they have. Glasser hits the streets looking for the red car.
I was out of the office and on the street so I could be in the vicinity of the Bellevue area. Getting very antsy, very excited about being prepared to respond to a dispatch saying that there was a 91, a bank robbery.
July 1st, 1994. The shootist strikes again. He robs a bank in Kirkland, Washington, just 10 miles north of where Special Agent Glasser is on patrol looking for him. After his trademark gunshot, the shootist orders a teller to load his bag with cash. As before, he warns against bait bills or die packs and threatens to shoot if she tries anything. The teller accidentally drops wooden paperweights in the bag, which the shootist mistakes for die packs. He's enraged. July 1st, 1994. The shootist commits his 48th bank robbery. A frightened teller angers the robber, but she is spared.
What are you trying to do? You trying to get me
The gunman runs out without firing another shot and disappears before police and the FBI can respond. Investigators get word of the latest robbery. Special Agent Jack Kelly's hunch about Seattle was right.
We knew where he was at this point, at least what vicinity of the country he was in the general Seattle area.
Kelly has already flagged Williams' credit cards, so he'll be notified if one is used. Just after the Kirkland robbery, the plan works.
I was fortunate enough to be able to get some information from one particular credit card company that had a recent transaction up in the state of Washington at a particular hotel up there.
Seattle Special Agent Don Glasser rushes to the hotel.
I went up there very excited. I know now we've got some real good information.
The hotel is in Bothell, 10 miles from the latest robbed bank. Johnny Williams used a credit card in the name of his alias, Robert Hall, to check in. But there's no guarantee he's still there.
I drove through the parking lot. I saw the red card sitting in the parking lot, nose in the parking space.
When Glasser calls in the plate number, it comes back registered to Carol Williams under her maiden name of Hawkins.
Hello, sir. How can I help you today?
Yeah, let's see the manager.
If Williams is still in the hotel, they must be careful not to tip him off or create a barricade or hostage situation.
Listen, what I really need from you is I need you to look at this picture, okay? I need you to tell me if...
The manager recognizes suspect Johnny Williams as Robert Hall and says he and his wife have not checked out.
So I immediately called Jack Kelly back. He gave him the news and suggested he get on an airplane and fly north, and he was already packing his bags.
At that point in the investigation, I was very excited. I contacted my counterpart, Jack Baxter, from the San Jose PD, told him they had the guy, not only we got him identified, but also we know where he is. So Jack hopped on a plane, and I hopped on a plane.
Glasser also calls for reinforcements from the Seattle police and FBI.
We made sure that none of our agents wore radios, guns, raid jackets, FBI, ball caps, any kind of identifying. Ask them to act normal when they're moving around.
Within minutes, more agents and detectives quietly arrive and set up a perimeter.
We made sure that no FBI four-door, as we call them, G-rides, were visible to this guy, that we would use surveillance vehicles. If we happened to casually look out his window, he wouldn't see anything unusual happening outside. We set up locations completely surrounding the hotel. We rented a couple rooms that would give us a base to operate from. So there was no way that he would walk out. If he detected us, then he might try and escape. We made sure we had it really covered.
Rather than rush the room, the investigators decide to wait until they get a visual ID of Williams.
Yeah, let me take a break for about half an hour. We had made sure we had an eyeball on his door at all times.
By nightfall, Detective Baxter and Special Agent Kelly arrive from California. Detective Jack Baxter.
We didn't want to move too fast. We had to have patience, and we wanted to make sure we could arrest him in a way that nobody was going to get hurt.
The agents want to take Williams into custody outside his room in case he has guns inside.
As dinner time approached, we hoped that we'd see him come down and go to eat or something like that, and that we were prepared to arrest him if he did that.
But hours pass with no sign of Williams or his wife. While they watch, investigators have to stay under the shootist's radar and not use police radios.
We had been told he had a scanner, so we had to be careful what we said on the radio for fear of tipping him off that we were there.
It does appear someone is in the room. Special Agent Jack Kelly.
We knew that there was a light on in there. We could see the light, all the drapes were drawn, and we could see the flashing of the television in there.
After 7 years, agents and police may finally have the shootist cornered. After an 8-year search, The FBI believes they have traced Johnny Madison Williams, the shootist, to a Washington State hotel room. A full day and night of surveillance passes with no movement from the room. In the morning, agents devise a ruse to see if their suspect is actually there. They recruit a hotel employee to help. Investigators show the man what their target looks like and ask him to knock on the door to ask a maintenance question and get a good look at whoever's inside. Despite the danger, the employee has to act natural. If Williams gets spooked, he could turn violent.
I need to change your filters.
When the door opens, the hotel employee asks when would be a good time to change the room's air filters. Detective Jack Baxter.
Our suspect told him that he was going to leave in an hour so he could come back in an hour and change the filters. Well, he ran back to us and positively identified him as being in the room. We had the room secured, so there's no way he was going to get out.
Now they know the shootist is definitely there. And in an hour, he should emerge.
I want everybody in place in 45.
An hour passes. Then 2. Williams could be on to them. But then an opportunity presents itself. Special Agent Jack Kelly.
There was a phone call from that room down to the front desk, and he had asked if he could borrow a typewriter because he wanted to write a letter to someone. And he was asking the people at the front desk if they could bring the typewriter up to the room. We instructed him not to do that.
On the FBI's order, the manager tells Williams he's welcome to use the typewriter in an office near the front desk.
Which he agreed to. Say be down shortly.
The small office is a good place for an arrest, away from the public, no chance of escape. Special Agent Don Glasser.
We quickly go to the room, decide where the typewriter is going to be, do a little quick rearranging of furniture so that we can go into that room once he's in there and not be obstructed by furniture. We have a nice clean path to get to him.
As a final touch, investigators place a sheet listing the Miranda arrest rights in the typewriter. Then hide in an adjacent room and wait for the word from their men outside. After 40 tense minutes, a man leaves the room and heads toward the front desk. It's Johnny Williams.
We saw him walking across the parking lot. Absolutely no question in our mind that is him. We recognized him as if he were our best friend.
He just left his room. He's on his way to the lobby.
This is it. The culmination of an 8-year chase.
He walked into the front desk, and they instructed him to go over to this office.
Mr. Williams, the office is ready.
So he walked behind the front desk and went over there.
Use this typewriter and this extra paper down here. Just page me if you need anything else.
Williams is cornered, cut off from escape. Agents know he is dangerous. They are prepared for the worst. But he is completely caught off guard. Agents take him into custody without a struggle. He is unarmed. Because of the investigators' careful planning, it's a perfectly quiet arrest.
I called him by his true name. I said, Johnny Madison Williams, Jr., it's over. And his head kind of dropped.
Next, agents have to get Williams' wife, Carol.
We figured there was no reason to charge into the room, but we'd just wait long enough and she would come down. In fact, she did.
He's on the move right now.
she came out of the room and she was going to her car. And we just stepped out and took her into custody there without incident.
Freeze, FBI, you're under arrest. Place your hands where I can see them. Place them on top of the car.
Hands on the car. Hands on top of the car. There you go. Hands over the car. Don't move. Don't move, okay? There you go. Use your left hand. Other hand. Move the FBI, okay? You're under arrest.
Once again, a safe arrest. Now agents go looking for evidence.
He provided a consent to search his room, and in that room he had a couple scanners, he had handy-talkies, he had disguises, he had money.
They also discover the shootist's own notes, a log of all his robberies.
There was a gray briefcase that had a detailed record of the bank robberies, very, very organized, the date, the day of the week, information on the total, the address of the bank, the name of the bank. Very, very, very incriminating evidence.
Investigators find more in Williams' car.
He had 2 pistols and they were in the trunk of his car. We recognized the 4-inch .38 revolver from the pictures, surveillance pictures. We knew we had the right weapon. He had a 2-inch revolver that we hadn't seen before. Both of them were loaded.
The investigators separate Williams and his wife while they await transport to an FBI office for booking. Williams agrees to talk.
We linked him to, I think, a total of 48 robberies. And when I did the interview, he asked me, he says, how many do you have me for? I said, well, how many do you think we have you for, John? He says, oh, he says, you know, you wouldn't be here arresting me and know my name and everything else. You probably have all 56.
Williams goes on to detail each of the 48 robberies the FBI know about, plus 8 they don't.
The entire interview eventually lasted about 12 hours, and I was writing constantly. I mean, I had writer's cramp at the end of the 12 hours with all the information he was providing.
Johnny Madison Williams took his work seriously, casing banks for weeks, outlining intricate escape plans. He says he wore the brace after injuring his back in a car accident and frequented chiropractors, just not the ones investigators got to. Knowing the FBI would try to trace his disguises, he stocked up in Dallas before he started his robbery spree. He tells agents he studied police routes, radio dispatch codes. All that work brought him close to $1 million in stolen cash, until authorities stopped him. Yet it wasn't just the agents and officers working the case who solved it.
Many times it's the assistance of the public that leads to the capture and successful resolution of these cases. It's very important. I think no more so than now with the terrorism threat. Is that important?
Carol Williams pleads guilty and receives 20 years for her role in the shootist robberies. Her husband, Johnny Madison Williams, the shootist himself, also pleads guilty to the 27 robberies still under the statute of limitations. He is sentenced to 92 years in federal prison. His unprecedented reign finally over. A shooter takes deadly aim at the residents of a small Georgia town. Police and the FBI begin a desperate search to find the killer. They struggle to make sense of the evidence as the body count climbs, all in an attempt to stop this murderer before he puts his next victim in his sights.
Georgia, a series of bizarre shootings terrorized the small town. 2 people were killed, 2 others were critically wounded. At first, the shootings seemed targeted. Then they seemed random. I'm Jim Kallstrom, former head of the FBI's New York office. As the body count climbed, the killer taunted law enforcement with mysterious notes. Agents believed the shooter would continue to kill until he was dead or behind bars.
East Point, Georgia is just 7 miles south of Atlanta. It's a quiet city with a population of 40,000. East Point averages 6 to 8 homicides a year. March 1st, 2001. A man is concerned about his mother. He arrives at her house to see if she's okay. He normally speaks to his mother by phone every day, but this day she did not answer his calls. Then he sees signs of foul play that lead to his mother's car. He makes a horrific discovery. Minutes later, East Point Police and Lieutenant Russell Popham begin a homicide investigation.
We discovered the victim was a female that had been shot and she was dead of multiple gunshot wounds. We did notice that she had been there for about 24 hours.
Police can already rule out one reason why the victim was murdered.
As always in any kind of crime, you try to figure out the motive, but obviously her car was still there as well as her pocketbook. So we didn't think at the time that robbery was the motive.
Detectives identify the victim as Pamela Clark. They also find a badge.
The victim was a probation officer with the state of Georgia. She worked for the Department of Corrections and she supervised probationers.
Since they have limited investigative resources, East Point Police request the FBI and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to assist at the crime scene. FBI Special Agent Pete McFarland is on a task force that assists local police departments with forensic analysis.
A lot of the local police departments did not have the equipment such as Lumilights. We actually process vehicles for latent fingerprints. We process items that we pick up for latent fingerprints.
Agent McFarland finds signs Pamela Clark was shot at almost point-blank range.
You could see where the person had shot right through the window, and glass had actually impaled the victim's face. So it was very close. I guess you could say it was an execution.
The killer was both brutal and careful. East Point Police Detective Bobby Gray finds no bullet shell casings at the scene, despite multiple shots being fired.
No shell casings could mean that there was a revolver. Until we know differently, we're going to assume either the person picked him up or he was using the revolver.
Police believe the killer premeditated the murder because of the lack of evidence.
There was no fingerprints left at the scene. It was a very sterile scene.
Detectives want to know who would want Pamela Clark dead. For answers, they turn to the victim's son. He spoke to his mother every day. But she seemed happy and never mentioned trouble with anyone, including her probationers. To investigators, it seems that the fatal shooting was a random attack. That night, detectives go door to door throughout the neighborhood. They're searching for anyone who saw anything suspicious in the last 24 hours. They find only one witness.
He was in the shadow, though, and
The previous night, she heard noises that could have been gunshots. Then she saw someone calmly walking away.
what time of night was it? Around 8?
The witness said she saw a black male about 6 foot tall. She's looking at a distance from about 40 yards, so she can only tell that he had a low haircut. and he was about 6 foot tall, of average build. There was not much light. That's all she could come up with.
If you got to tell me anything or if something pops into your mind, just give us a call.
Unfortunately, the witness is unsure she'd recognize the man if she saw him again.
There are 3 bullet wounds.
The medical examiner confirms several findings investigators made at the crime scene. Pamela Clark was murdered 24 hours before her body was discovered. The medical examiner identifies 4 bullet wounds, 3 to the left side of the torso and 1 near the right armpit area. The tight grouping of the 3 wounds is consistent with police theories that the killer shot the victim at close range. Police get their first clues about the murder weapon when the medical examiner removes 3 .40 caliber bullets from the body. Although 3 bullets are recovered, the victim had 4 gunshot wounds. Investigators recover the 4th bullet from the passenger seat of the victim's car. It's also .40 caliber. Agents find the vehicle unusually cluttered with junk mail, bills, and other letters. The victim's son said his mother usually sorted her mail in the car after she picked it up from her mailbox. Agents also note a few other items.
I thought she may have had some children in the car because there were some wrappers also in the vehicle.
Based on the evidence recovered from the car, the autopsy, and witness interviews, detectives put together a murder scenario that paints a picture of a ruthless, calculating assailant. Investigators suspect the killer was lying in wait as Pamela Clark arrived home on the evening of February 28, 2001, at about 7:30 p.m. It seems he was familiar with his victim's routine as she arrived home from work. There he'd have a captive target as she sorted her mail. Detectives believe the killer either picked up all the .40 caliber shell casings or had some other way of containing them as he fired. Then he left Pamela Clark to die. Police have a theory on how the victim was murdered, but they have no suspects and a killer on the loose.
We have an extreme whodunit. We have bullets, we have a car, and we have a body, and that's about all we have.
With so little to go on, it will be difficult to find justice for the murdered probation officer. East Point, Georgia police and the FBI have a killer on the loose, a killer who murdered probation officer Pamela Clark. They have no leads and no suspects. They only know the killer approached her while she sat in her car, then shot her 4 times at close range with a .40 caliber handgun. Investigators like East Point Police Lieutenant Russell Popham try to understand why someone would want Pamela Clark dead.
There's an old saying that if you can establish the motive, you can solve the crime. We immediately went to work on her immediate family, her contacts, as well as her job as a state probation officer.
The victim's son said she never mentioned having any enemies. Detectives focus on the victim's job as a probation officer, where she worked with dangerous criminals on a daily basis. The probation officer has the power to send a violent criminal back to jail.
Okay, here's her office. All right. Just look around, and if you need me.
Police search the victim's office to examine her case files.
She had a typical caseload of anywhere from 70 to 100 probationers. So we looked to see if there was anybody on her probation list that maybe she was about to try and revoke the probation. This took about 15 days to go through the list.
Detectives question each of Pamela Clark's probationers to find out where they were on the night she was killed.
Yeah. Devereaux, I'd like to talk to you.
About...
You familiar with Miss Clark? She's your probation officer.
Yes.
You know what happened to her?
No.
Most of them are saddened to hear of her murder.
Murdered?
Yes. Where were you the night she was murdered?
And she's like a mom to me and everything. I mean...
What we found in interviewing her probationers is that she was a well-liked person, a very fair person, almost a mother figure. We heard that from several people that had committed some violent crimes, and they actually liked her as a probation officer.
Don't go out of town.
I'm not leaving town.
Well, I'm going to be back and talk with you some more, okay?
All right, no problem.
But as police scour hundreds of case files, they discover a probationer who had both a motive to kill Officer Clark and the opportunity to study her habits.
We were able to find one person that she was potentially going to revoke her or ask for his probation to be revoked because he had failed a drug test. And this person actually lived in her neighborhood.
The probationer's name is Thomas Moulton. Detectives put a mugshot of Moulton into a photo lineup. They show it to the witness who saw a man walking away from the crime scene on the night of the murder. The witness identifies Thomas Moulton as the man she saw. With the positive ID, it seems investigators may have an open and shut case. March 15th, 2001. 2 weeks after Pamela Clark was gunned down. Police have an arrest and search warrant for Moulton.
Your hands. What's wrong? What did I do? What's wrong? Tell me what's going on, man.
You're under arrest for parole violation.
During their search of Moulton's house, investigators uncover a jacket like the one the witness saw on the night of the murder.
This looks like the jacket.
Yeah, it sure does, doesn't it? That's it.
Police also make a disturbing find.
He had a box of 9mm bullets in his room, and we knew, however, that the bullets used were .40 caliber, but again, this showed that this probationer had bullets when he shouldn't have. We were alarmed at this.
All right, let's see what we have. Would you look at that?
We still had a lot of work to do to prove or disprove that this person did it.
Thomas Moulton submits to a polygraph test and agrees to be questioned without a lawyer present.
Did you kill Pamela Clark?
No.
Under questioning, Moulton denies any involvement in Pamela Clark's murder. He claims to have respected her, even though her probation report would send him back to prison.
Did you have anything to do with Officer Clark's murder?
No. I wouldn't hurt her. I liked her. She was good to me.
He explains that the bullets found in his apartment were for a Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol. The weapon was stolen 6 months earlier.
Did you ever use the path in Officer Clark's backyard?
Yes, but everybody used that path.
When investigators press Moulton for an alibi, he claims he can't remember where he was on the night of Pamela Clark's murder.
The night of February 28, 2001?
No.
Have you been truthful in all your responses during this interview?
Yes.
Throughout the interview, the polygraph analyst detects no evidence of deception by Moulton.
This is over, relax.
Did I pass? Can you tell you?
Police later examine Moulton's telephone records. They discover Moulton was on the phone talking to his girlfriend during the time Pamela Clark was murdered.
Same problems. Everything was clean. Okay?
Detectives clear Moulton as a suspect. They've hit a dead end in their investigation. The killer is still on the loose and free to strike again. April 8, 2001, over a month after Pamela Clark was murdered. It's an unusually warm spring evening in East Point.
It was a night in the low 70s at the time, so a lot of people were enjoying the first few days of spring that with their doors open, their windows open.
A few miles from Pamela Clark's home, a retiree named Chuck Boiler hears someone approach.
Who's out there? Who's out there? Who's out there? Hey!
The bullet shatters the man's arm and rips into his chest. He tries to fight back, but he's rapidly losing blood. The gunman lingers. Then disappears into the night. East Point Police Lieutenant Russell Popham tries to get a description of the assailant. But it's no use.
He couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman, the race of the person or anything. And we asked him, well, who would have did this to you? Did they ask for anything? Did they try to rob you or anything like that? And he said, no, I just went to the door and I was shot through the door.
Detectives find evidence confirming the victim was shot at almost point-blank range.
We could actually see the gunpowder residue around the screen, so we knew, again, this was up close and personal. And so it appeared that he was targeted.
Police recover a shell casing.
Detective, we got a shell casing over here. Yeah, 40 caliber.
It's .40 caliber. Then detectives find an unusual clue deliberately left behind by the shooter. It's an ominous note that reads, "I was locked up for 6 weeks. Someone must pay." The reverse side of the note is signed in yellow highlighter. The gunman calls himself Jack. As East Point police try to make sense of the note, they have no idea that more violence is being unleashed just a few miles away. Less than an hour after Chuck Boiler was shot, East Point police will have a new murder on their hands.
Hey! Hey! You mind here?
In the spring of 2001, police in East Point, Georgia are investigating the murder of probation officer Pamela Clark. They have no suspects. Over a month later, a gunman shoots Chuck Boiler point blank, shattering his arm. Police find a note left by the shooter in which he calls himself Jack. Less than an hour after Chuck Boiler was shot, a man approaches another house in East Point.
Help! Hey! Hey! Please, open this door! Give me some help!
The man isn't a shooter, he's a victim. East Point Emergency Services race to their second shooting of the night. Police learn the victim's name is Andrew Wilson, a janitor at a local hospital. In a few hours, Wilson will die from gunshot wounds to his back. Police need to know what happened. They find answers down the street. A car idles with no one inside. Police run the registration and learn the vehicle belongs to the victim. Investigators find bullet holes in the vehicle that indicate Wilson was shot in his car as he pulled up to the intersection. The fatal bullet likely passed through the driver's side rear window, through the back of the driver's side seat, and into the victim's back. After Wilson was shot, detectives believe he got out of his car and desperately searched the neighborhood for help.
Hello? I need some help, please!
Police recover 5 shell casings from the scene. They're all .40 caliber. Just like the casing recovered an hour earlier in front of Chuck Boiler's house. But the fact that .40 caliber weapons were used in both crimes does not necessarily link the two shootings.
The primary murder weapon that's used around here is a 9mm, and as the .40 caliber's gotten more popular, we see a lot of .40 caliber crime scenes.
Then police find undeniable evidence the two shootings are related. The city of East Point has a serial shooter on the loose. He calls himself Jack.
I just need to ask you some questions, okay?
East Point police canvass the neighborhood for witnesses.
Okay, yeah,
They find a woman who saw a black male loitering in the area before the shooting.
She saw that this man standing there, and he was pacing back and forth. And she watched him for 10 or 15 minutes, and she said, "This is not right."
The witness phoned police to report the man.
Yes, I was wondering if you could send out a patrol car to 5th and Brown. Yes, well, there's a man out here. I've never seen in my neighborhood. It's pretty scary, and... Okay, thank you.
When she went back to the window, she saw a car approach the intersection. She never saw the man's face, but she got a good look at his vehicle.
She sees a late model American car. She was very adamant and detailed about it, and that was one thing that we really believed her on, that she knew what type of car it was.
The witness was unable to see the car's license plate number.
Okay, well, you've done good. If you think of anything else comes to mind, okay? Would you please give me a call? Okay.
In a single night, Jack has murdered one man and seriously wounded another. Police now have two bodies on their hands, and every reason to expect there will be more. The city of East Point, Georgia, has a serial shooter on the loose. In a single night, the gunman wounded one man and killed another. Investigators found notes left by the shooter at both crime scenes. They were signed in yellow highlighter, Jack. East Point police and Detective Bobby Gray fear the shooter will strike again.
The frustrating thing about this investigation is we didn't know who, we didn't know why, and we didn't know who would be next.
4 days later, on April 12, 2001, a shadowy figure approaches another house in East Point. A woman is unaware she's a target. She doesn't hear the shot. The TV is her only clue something is wrong. Then she spots a bullet hole and calls 911.
Okay, we'll get somebody out there. Thank you.
East Point police respond to the latest shooting. Detectives believe the shooter targeted the woman and hit the TV by mistake. She's lucky to be alive.
Did you hear anything prior to the shot?
I didn't. I was sitting there watching TV, and I remember flipping through the magazine, and that's all I can remember. I'm sure.
If it wasn't for the TV being in front of the window, the person watching the TV would have been dead. The bullet went through the window, went through the screen, went through the back of the TV, and fortunately, it lodged inside the TV.
Investigators uncover a chilling note that supports their theory and threatens many more victims. It reads, "Better count your body bags."
We knew that this person wasn't going to stop. We're going to have more victims. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and how many.
Police have no doubt as to who did the shooting. The killer, who calls himself Jack. Hours later, crime scene technicians recover a bullet from the woman's TV set. It's .40 caliber, consistent with Jack's MO. East Point detectives need to stop Jack before he makes good on his threat to fill body bags with more victims. They appeal to other police agencies and the FBI for help. FBI Special Agent Pete McFarlane examines the evidence. He recognizes the notes. He found one when he processed the car of murdered probation officer Pamela Clark. At first, he thought the note was just a child's scribbling. But now it ties Pamela Clark's murder to the shooting spree.
This is it. I knew I'd seen it. Gentlemen.
Eureka. That's the word you want to use, eureka. There's a connect here. When you started connecting all of them together, it's very similar, handwriting or block writing, all done with a highlighter. It was almost like this person was trying to say that, well, I'm a serial killer. I'm out there shooting people just for no reason at all.
The similarities between the notes point to a killer that is methodical, calculated, and consistent. Jack wrote each note on a half a sheet of standard white paper. Jack tore each note by hand, resulting in ragged edges. And Jack signed each note with either an orange or a yellow highlighter. Detectives believe one note contains a possible motive.
I was locked up for 6 weeks for nothing. Someone must pay.
So investigators scour records for anyone recently jailed for that period of time named Jack. They find no viable suspects. Jack and his true motive remain a mystery.
We as investigators had 4 crime scenes, but we had nothing. We had no suspects, we had nobody.
So you have 1, 2.
Police examine the victims' backgrounds, searching for any link between them that could show a pattern in the shootings.
Right here. Well, we have active 95 north, so here's what happens.
We even went as far as to, did individuals, did they have their oil changed at the same place? You know, their automotive work, was it done at the same place? Things like that. I mean, we looked into every possible avenue to connect them, to disprove that it was random.
The only link police find is that all the victims live within the borders of the same city.
Everything was centered in East Point, as opposed to the shooter going to College Park, which is right next door to East Point, or even back to Atlanta, or to Hapeville, or some other jurisdiction in close proximity to East Point. Everything was centered right in East Point.
Detectives know that when the killer strikes again, it will be in East Point. Anyone within city limits could be a target. Police take unprecedented measures to warn the public. They use a computer system to dial every phone number in East Point. Anyone who picks up the phone hears a message warning about a killer on the loose. The taped message tells the public to call police if they see anything even slightly suspicious. It puts the entire city on edge. East Point police work around the clock, canceling leave and beefing up patrols to catch Jack before he strikes again. But they're up against a gunman who kills at a time and place of his choosing.
We felt helpless. We're here to protect the citizens of East Point, and we're here to help. And unfortunately, you don't know when the next shooting is going to happen. You don't know who's going to be the victim. You don't know why they're going to be a victim.
Investigators fear they're playing a grim waiting game with Jack.
I can remember a veteran FBI agent that had worked on some serial murder cases, serial rapist cases, and he said, I'll never forget this, he said, you're probably just going to have to sit back and wait for another one to happen. And that's not really what you want to hear.
"12 days later, on April 24th, 2001, the wait is over. At 1:30 a.m., Rosa Lewis pulls up to her East Point apartment. She's Jack's fifth victim. East Point, Georgia, April 24th, 2001 at 1:30 a.m. Rosa Lewis has been shot in her car as she pulled up to her apartment. She's the latest victim in a series of random shootings that have left 2 people dead. She fights to avoid becoming the 3rd murder victim. Despite 4 bullets that have ripped into the left side of her torso. A roommate calls 911 as Rosa Lewis loses consciousness. East Point Police, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and the FBI speed to the scene. East Point Police Lieutenant Russell Popham can't get any answers from the victim. Not now, maybe never.
What we were told was that she was not going to live. We were told that she was that critical, her blood pressure was already dropping, that she wasn't going to live.
Investigators turn to the physical evidence left behind. Once again, they find .40 caliber shell casings, 4 of them. Detectives know the killer, who calls himself Jack, used a .40 caliber weapon in all 4 of his previous shootings. Agents find another clue on the roof of a car that the shooter used to steady his aim.
But you could see the where he actually reached across the roof and was laying across the roof of this vehicle, shooting into the vehicle. You could see the V shape of the muzzle blast on the car itself. The connection is, this is so close. It's so close that this person could not miss. It's not like shooting from 25 feet, 50 yards away. This person got right up into the victim's face and was shooting that person.
Police search for Jack's signature clue.
We immediately began to look for a note. We had the .40 caliber casing, so we immediately began to look for a note. We could not find a note in the darkness. We could find a note, and it wasn't a windy night, so we didn't think the note had blown away, but we couldn't find it.
Although no note is recovered, police find similarities between the Rosa Lewis shooting and the murder of probation officer Pamela Clark. Both women were gunned down in their cars, with multiple shots fired through the driver's side window at close range. Then detectives uncover a shocking clue that changes the entire investigation. Rosa Lewis was a probation officer just like Pamela Clark.
They knew each other. They worked in the same office together. This is too coincidental.
Detectives no longer believe the shootings are random. Somehow the Rosa Lewis and Pamela Clark shootings are related. Police interview Rosa Lewis's roommate and learn Rosa moved into the apartment 2 months ago after a recent divorce.
But she described the relationship to us as an amicable divorce. She even said that the victim's ex-husband had actually helped her move in. There was no reason to believe that he had a motivation to want to kill her.
Agents and detectives go door to door, searching for any witnesses to the shooting.
And we did find one lady who actually lives on a street behind the apartment complex who said she heard the shot. She looked out her window and she saw a car leaving that area. And she described it as a blue car, and she gave us that it was similar to a particular make of a car. So we had now a car, the kind of car we're possibly looking for, the make and model. We just weren't certain what the tag number was on the vehicle.
The witness never saw the killer's face. Once again, police are left with only a vehicle description. Later that morning, police notify Rosa Lewis's family about the shooting, including her ex-husband, William Lewis.
We knock on the door and nobody answers. We knock a few more times and we're about to leave, and as we turn around to walk to our car, a car pulls in. The first thing that we notice is that this car that pulled in was very similar, if not the same kind of car that was described leaving the shooting.
The man driving the car is William Lewis. Detectives break the tragic news to him.
She's my Jake's wife. She's been shot multiple times.
When we told him that his ex-wife had been shot multiple times and may die, he wasn't shocked. He didn't ask, how is she doing? He didn't say, I have to get to her. He didn't say, what are you doing to get this person? It's almost as if we had notified him that something that was not really that significant.
Madam, can you check your car? Keys.
Detectives ask to search Lewis's car. He consents and says the vehicle is a rental. Hours after the shooting, police could expect to find a weapon, bullets, or a note signed in yellow highlighter if William Lewis is Jack. But they find nothing.
It's clean.
Investigators then ask Lewis for consent to search his house. He agrees. The living room is clean, but it's only one of many rooms.
Mr. Lewis, is that your bedroom back there?
Yeah.
Mind if I take a look?
In the bedroom, police find items that would be common in any home office. But in this case, they have a chilling significance.
As I was standing in the bedroom, I looked over at his dresser, and on his dresser were several highlight markers. It was the same colors of the notes that we had had before.
Mr. Lewis, would you mind coming with us back downtown for a little while? Would you? I mean, just need to go in and ask a few more questions. Is that okay?
Downtown?
Yeah.
The discovery prompts detectives to ask Lewis to come downtown for questioning. He agrees.
I think he wanted to be as cooperative as he could. He wanted to convince us that he was not the person.
Police have no way of knowing if they just put Jack in their car or if it's another dead end. Probation officer Rosa Lewis lies in a coma after being shot 4 times in the chest. Police believe she's the 5th victim of a serial shooter who calls himself Jack. Detectives find circumstantial evidence that points to the victim's ex-husband, William Lewis. But they still have no idea why he went by the name Jack or what prompted his shooting spree. While Lewis is transported to the police station for questioning, other investigators are dispatched to the probation office where his ex-wife, Rosa Lewis, worked. They search her desk for clues. It's the same office in which the first victim of the shooting spree, Pamela Clark, worked. The women were close friends. Investigators find evidence that Rosa Lewis feared for her life. Weeks before she was shot, she wrote a letter and placed it in her desk. It said if anything happened to her, it was her ex-husband who was responsible. From the letter, East Point Police Detective Bobby Gray learns William Lewis made threats to stop Rosa from divorcing him.
He would tell her things like, I know people. I know people who can do things to you. I know how to get rid of you. And he would say things like, I will blow your head off.
In her letter, Rosa Lewis also implicates her ex-husband in the murder of Pamela Clark. Pamela helped Rosa through the divorce and recommended a divorce lawyer. It made William Lewis furious.
And in his mind, if she had not talked his wife into leaving him, his wife would still be with him. He was so mad at her that that was going to be the first person that he would lash out at.
Pamela was murdered the night before Rosa left her husband for good. During questioning, detectives confront William Lewis with the note found in Rosa's desk.
My ex-husband has been acting extremely irrational. Many people have cautioned me to be careful.
And we actually read the letter to him in the interview and asked him about these threats that he was making. And he told us that those are just empty. So those are empty threats. Those are empty threats. There's nothing to that. They're empty.
That's all empty threats. That's it.
Threats.
Yeah.
Empty threat. Empty enough for her to write a letter to an attorney.
It's just words. That's all it was, man.
You ever grabbed your wife?
No.
You ever hit her?
No.
You ever beat on her?
No.
They ask William Lewis more about his relationship with his wife. They learn the couple's wedding anniversary is April 8th, the same day Chuck Boiler was shot and Andrew Wilson was murdered.
What we've theorized is he had probably sitting at home all day on Sunday. It was his wedding anniversary. He wanted his wife, and we think he became angry and just went out and shot 2 random victims.
Can you explain these to us?
Detectives review Lewis's credit card records and learn he rented a car on April 8th.
No big deal.
On the same day that the murder took place, the same car that was seen at the murder scene. Man, tell me about that.
That's a coincidence.
The car matches the description of the vehicle a witness saw leaving the Andrew Wilson murder scene.
According to him, he liked to rent a lot of cars. We link him to 2 cars that he rented, and the 2 cars that he rented were both seen leaving shootings. And that was very important.
She didn't see me.
During the grueling 3-hour interrogation, Lewis remains deceptive and evasive in his answers. He makes up stories about probationers who wanted to kill his ex-wife. Investigators see through the smokescreen.
You have the right to remain silent and not make any statement at all.
It was about 5 o'clock that day that we placed him under arrest for shooting his wife.
I love my wife, okay?
But Rosa Lewis was only one of 5 people targeted by the shooter known as Jack. If William Lewis is Jack, police still have to prove it.
We had to connect him back to these other incidents. We had a lot of circumstantial evidence, but we didn't feel at that time we had nowhere near enough to convict him.
The good news is we got 1 survivor. She's recovering.
FBI Special Agent Pete McFarland believes one way to link Lewis to the other shootings is through shell casings and bullets.
No shell casing here. That was the first. Victim 2, 1 we found.
The lab said all the bullets from the previous crime scenes came from the same weapon. The bullets that shot Miss Lewis came from the same weapon.
That was. Would it match? It does match. So obviously.
East Point Police Lieutenant Russell Popham knows locating the murder weapon will prove their case.
We're lucky we had 1 survivor
To this day, we have never found the firearm. We executed 8 search warrants looking for this firearm, and we have never found the firearm.
It keeps coming up. There's got to be something. The highlighters.
Police seized the highlighters found in William Lewis's bedroom.
He wrote these. He left these on every crime scene. He's trying to tell us something. That leads us to the markers he used. What about the highlighters?
Yeah, well, they're just your everyday, ordinary highlighter. I found them in Lewis's bedroom. It's just common, so it might not have anything to work with. Right.
But they are a popular brand. Even if the ink matches the notes the shooter left behind, a jury could still have reasonable doubts.
Wait a second. Wait 1 second here. Now look at this book.
The notes themselves might, however, contain forensic evidence.
Every note, it's all the same, all the tears.
Crime scene technicians dust the notes for fingerprints and find only unreadable smudges. They find some of the smudges along the torn edges were not made by fingers, but by human lips.
We believe what happened was that this person had licked the piece of paper and tore it off, moistened the paper, basically, and left his lip prints.
With the paper moistened, it would be easier for the shooter to tear it along the fold. The shooter avoided leaving his fingerprints on the notes, but technicians find traces of saliva that contains DNA. Investigators compared DNA taken from the notes with a sample taken from William Lewis. The DNA matches. William Lewis is Jack.
Even though we didn't have a murder weapon from him, we had his DNA. His saliva is on these notes, and they're at 3 of the scenes.
Serious. Yes, especially look at this. Perfect match.
Excellent.
William Charles Lewis is indicted on 26 counts in connection with the East Point shooting spree. The district attorney plans to seek the death penalty. William Lewis's ex-wife, Rosa, emerges from her coma after months of hospitalization and eventually returns home. In September 2001, 5 months after Rosa Lewis was nearly murdered, police respond to her home once again.
You got this today?
Yes, I did.
Miss Lewis called me, said, I just got a letter. It's here, I haven't opened it. I want you to come down here and get it. And I went down there to where she was living and picked up the letter and read it. Basically an apology to his wife.
From the letter, detectives learn the bizarre motives behind the shooting spree.
He knew that if he killed the first victim, which was his wife's friends, it would bring a lot of hurt to his wife. The second victim, the third victim, and the fourth victims were, they were just to throw the police off.
The letter closes all 5 cases and seals William Lewis's fate.
Not only did we have his DNA at the scene, which was enough to convict him, but now we had a confession as to why he did it, and the reason and why he did it.
With his confession written, William Lewis pleads guilty to all counts. He's sentenced to life in prison plus 191 years with no possibility of parole.
We all discussed that at one time. If he had not been caught, would he have gone on and continued shooting people just to lead us away from the whole purpose is to kill his wife? You know, throw us off track. I suspect he probably would have gone on if he didn't get caught.
Only William Lewis knows how many more random victims he would have killed to cover his tracks. The combined efforts of the East Point Police, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and the FBI made sure he'd never get the chance to kill again.